Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store. And good afternoon, MFHL fans. For some reason the camera isn't showing up to start off this episode, but I am here on this edition of the show. Looking forward to it. Just want to get myself back in here. There we go. Now we gotta minimize the screen. Get it all set up. Yeah, I had it set up before, but for some reason the camera went out. Welcome to this edition of the MFHL Podcast. I'm your host, Graeme, the gshow Forsyth. We're brought to you by Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Elite Prospects, Terrico, Goaltenders, and Movement, Fitness, and Performance. Lots to get into in today's edition of the show. The first of 2 episodes coming to you in these next few days, as we're going to be getting back up to speed in terms of evening out the number of episodes throughout our podcast, as we've fallen a bit behind schedule, but on the schedule tonight, something very entertaining in the female hockey world. Team Manitoba taking on Team Atlantic in the quarterfinals of the 2025 U18 Women's National Tournament held in Newfoundland and Labrador. We'll get into Team Manitoba coming up in this one. I'm joined by a guest in this edition of the show too. Finally, it's been a long time since that's happened here on the podcast, as it's going to be Trevor Hildebrand of the Eastman Selects joining the show, and we're also going to take you through just the stats, the upcoming games that we got coming up on our network here for the month of November, and much more on what should be a very exciting edition of the show. I know I'm excited for it. I hope you are too. It's our first one of November here in 2025, so I'd say let's make a good one. I guess I'll say that. Let's make it a good one. Of course, with the viewership, get the views up, like and subscribe this. Like this episode if you enjoy this podcast. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe if you want to stay up to date with everything to do with the MFHL here on our network, in terms of when this podcast comes out and other updates. And we're thinking of maybe, doing a bit more with the channel moving forward when it comes to MFHL content. But yeah, I'm just excited for this month of November, I guess, and the rest of the year moving forward. And if you want to stay up to date with what's going on around the league here on our channel, as we do it on the MFHL podcast, talking about stats, standings, we'll have player coach interviews, more of those moving forward, and just a whole bunch of stuff. This is the place to be and to subscribe to on the platform that is YouTube. But yeah, Trevor Hildebrand, the head coach of the Eastman Selects, will be joining the show here as the only guest, as mentioned. And I actually had a chance to interview Trevor 4 years ago when I used to work for a company that's no longer around in ASTV. Well, I guess they still are around. That's a whole nother story for another day. But just all you need to know is I interviewed Trevor then. He was the head coach of the U18 program. He went to the U15 program for a few years, and now he's back as the head coach for the defending champions that are looking quite strong to start off this season. Had a great chat with Trevor, as he's full of a lot of knowledge about the game, and it's always great to connect with a guest who does have a lot of knowledge like he does. So Trevor joins the show next year as the only guest, as mentioned, on episode 7, season 3 of the MFHL podcast. Trevor Hildebrand joining this edition of the MFHL podcast as the Eastman Selects currently in the league, defending champions in second place in the entire MFHL right now. The only loss, of course, coming to the Winnipeg Ice, a game that we were able to cover that went all the way down to a wire in a shootout. Trevor, you're back at the U18 level. We were speaking before the show started, and the last time I actually interviewed you was 4 years ago. You took a trip down to the U15 level for the past few years. Now you're back here with the U18s. How's the journey been for yourself?
It's well, the last 4 years have been unreal. I guess they've been long and short at the same time. So I for myself, I've been coaching for 15 years now, and eight of those years in Eastman. Six of the eight at the U15 level. So yeah, the last 3 years at the U15 level. You know, we've been fortunate to have some pretty strong players come through our program over the last number of years, and definitely a shift. You know, when I started 8 years ago, Eastman was one of the stronger U15 programs, and then as every program does, it goes through cycles. So we had some lean years for sure, kind of years three, four, five, where we would just didn't have that top end talent, the depth that we're starting or seeing now at the in the Eastman region. So yeah, definitely it's definitely an exciting time in the region. You know, at all levels. You know, talking with people in the region, I say it goes back to kind of the development of the U13 program of the at the female level. Um, Now these players at the U18 level, they've many of them started at that U13 level where it was kind of a pilot project and then became a full-time or a permanent program. And you're starting to see that in other regions as well. So I think it speaks to what's happening at the grassroots level with the local minor hockey associations, and then what the coaches have done at the younger levels, the regional levels, like be it the U13 level, the U15 level, and obviously the U18 level. So you're seeing it across um, our programs now, where all three programs are humming along and have a lot of depth, have a lot of talent, and are experiencing a lot of success. So it's an exciting time to be in the region for sure.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, like you alluded to, the U15 program has had tremendous success. Same with like you're talking about. Actually, this is the first I've really heard of it. I got to do more research, but it's great to hear the U13 program has also been strong. And knowing that talent, it's been able to grow and start there and look promising for this region. Now up to the U18 level, we're kind of in like a golden age, a golden era of U18 Eastman female hockey. This team's the defending champs coming in. Whole lot of returning players. They didn't lose many, only about five, and you're back at the U18 level now. What's the adjustment been like? Even though you've had a lot of talent on your plate to be able to coach this year.
Yeah, definitely, kind of a weird way to kind of come into things. I mean, obviously, when you're the defending champs, it's not very often that you have a kind of a coaching change or new coaching staff come in after that. It just happened to kind of work out where Coach Laird, the previous coach, his daughter was moving up from U13 to U15. So there was somewhat a plan in place, and there was I think, some interest from him, or pressure maybe too, to coach his daughter. So an opportunity for him to, spend a little more time with the family, coach his girl coming up to the U15 level. So there was a swap in place. I mean, obviously exciting for myself, and you know, having coached a lot of these girls, as far as getting to know the girls, or the girls getting to know what I'm about, or our coaching staff is about, it's been pretty seamless. I mean, really, there's only 3 to 4 girls on this current roster that I haven't coached before, and they've been great, to this point, to buy in, just play a team game, and kind of get up to speed on what the expectations are. And then, of course, for ourselves as a coaching staff coming in, there's definitely some pressure and big boots to fill, coming into a program that just is on the heels of winning. So, the message to our group, players, parents, everybody involved in the program, is we want to continue to elevate the bar, raise the bar, and not dip. Continue to raise the standard, and keep forging ahead. So, obviously, as the defending champs, you night in, night out, you get everybody's best. So, we can't take any nights off. So that part's been easy, right? Just sticking to the messaging, and again, to the players' credit, they've been sticking to the program, so, and been performing. So yeah, it's been a great 3 months already. So it's crazy that we're in November already, but yeah, such as life at the AAA hockey level. So
Oh, no doubt about it. And yeah, I mean, it always seems like the season kind of flies by, right? And it feels like well, we literally just were in October, but we're going to be resuming play coming up on the 11th. You guys will be taking on the Abros, which we'll get into that game a bit later on in this interview. But uh, lately, look, getting a chance to coach his daughter. There's so many players too throughout this region that share relation with each other, and it's notable on this U18 team with the Carriers, of course, the Remelards last season, the new rookie coming up this year, and then of course the Rigos, and just knowing that there's that type of connection with this program and how tight knit this group is, it makes it even more special knowing that there's those connections, doesn't it?
For sure. I mean, as an aside, I mean, I think we definitely save our jersey decorator some pain. They just have to spell a couple names. As long as they get them right, it's easy to bang out those name bars. Yeah, I mean, it is special for those families. I mean, to have two families of carriers, cousins, and for the four of them to be able to play on the same team in the same year, no doubt is special for them. I mean, the Ramelards, they just missed out on a year, but I know when Sophie kind of AP'd last year, to have three of them in the lineup. Actually, she might have actually stepped, as I think about it, she might have stepped in for her sister, so it might not have worked out. But yeah, just to have those connections, I think it also, it aids our room and our team chemistry. I mean, we have it's definitely easy for our group to get along. I think there's genuine care and concern and compassion for each other, which again kind of helps, from a team buy-in perspective. I mean, everybody's kind of pulling on the same rope. So, we talk a lot about culture, and of course, that's always a buzzword in every program. Everybody talks about it. It's easy to talk about. It's another thing to kind of follow through and see it through and live it on a daily basis. So, just something we definitely try to preach and talk about. But it goes to the character and the quality of the players we have in the program. I mean, we've just been so fortunate right now, that we have such a terrific group of players and families. So I think that was, going back to me stepping into the back into this opportunity to be coach here again. I mean, that was probably one of the most attractive parts of it, was just knowing these families that were in the program or going to be entering the program. So, definitely a different experience than 4 years ago. And that's not to speak, good or bad about anything, but yeah, it's just a lot of character, a lot of quality, and that's just players and families. So I can't say enough good things about it right now.
Well, yeah, and like even dating back to 2 years ago when Coach Mason was the head coach of this group, he had kind of laid the groundwork for the culture of this team and how he wanted this selects team to go out there and compete. And then just Larry LeLuc's coaching staff last year was able to follow it up, of course, with a championship appearance and a championship win. And of course, you and your coaching staff looking to guide this group to the same. I assume that championship's the goal. And what a way to start off the season. Pretty strong weekend down in Portage La Prairie. A strong start to the year where there's only been one loss in regulation. Went down to the States, didn't even give up a goal in any of the four games this team played in. And then another funny story, I actually showed up to an arena because we were doing an game in Stonewall. I like, oh, the selects are playing. This team only gave up about like three shots or something in that win against the Interlake Lightning, of course, most recent win against the Winnipeg Abros. But yeah, just speak about how you feel this group has been able to go out and lock in this way. We've talked about it already, how tight knit they are, but to actually see the skill and to see this process in action must be pretty special as a coaching staff.
Well, I mean, yeah, I've always been a defense first coach, right from day one of my coaching career. That was definitely my philosophy, for myself as a player. I prided myself playing on both sides of the puck. So I think it's just something I carried forth into my, coaching career and my coaching philosophy. So something that's important to me and the teams I'm a part of is just checking, being hard to play against. Again, I'm throwing out a lot of cliches and words that a lot of coaches use, but it's something that just we talk about and just work on and practice. Um, and I mean, just I guess I'd speak to our team defense at this point. I mean, just going through, forwards, D and goaltending. Um, it's just you look up and down the lineup, we just have a lot of depth and balance. And we talk about defending and being tough defensively the moment we don't have the puck, wherever it is, right? Whether it's in the D zone or the offensive zone, the moment we don't have the puck, we're defending and we're trying to get it back, or just not allow the other team to do what they want to do with the puck. So, I mean, we got again, it speaks to the character and the buy-in. I mean, sometimes playing defensively and checking that those aren't the sexy parts of the game. Everybody loves to score and make plays. So, you just talk about, well, we can do that when we get the puck back. So it starts with our forwards. They make life difficult up ice. I mean, we put a lot of pressure on teams with our forecheck. We try to come at you hard, come at you with waves. And then our blue line is just, I mean, I'm not really sure if I can say enough good things about our blue line. It's just, again, 1 through 6, it's just so steady, so tough to get past. And if you do happen to get past, you're dealing with,
There you go.
two all-world goaltenders. And I don't even have the words to speak about our goaltending. I don't know if I can't say I've ever had a goaltending tandem like ours. Um, I've over my coaching career, I've had some really good goalies on my teams. I mean, I've had Kristen Campbell of PWHL Vancouver. I've had Kerrigan Dowie, who played at Bemidji State. I had Rachel Dick, who played at the University of Manitoba. I've been part of a coaching staff that's had really good goaltenders, but I don't know if I've been part of a coaching staff that has had a tandem quite as what we have, right? So, pretty fortunate and grateful to have what we have in the crease, and yeah, it's just coming to the rink every day and knowing you have that to not fall back on, but when you do make errors, it's quite a luxury.
Oh yeah, and like the proof was in the stats last year and watching them play like 13 shutouts combined. Labossiere was only a rookie last year too, which is unbelievable. And this whole team is a year older this year, like we've talked about, have barely added to it. And yeah, like you said, just a team that comes at you in waves. I always say on the broadcast, this team has great levels. It's if you get past, well, the slot, then you have the point to deal with. Or if you get past the goal line, you got the slot to deal with. It's a very tough team to beat, and well, very few have matched up against this Eastman team well this year so far. I want to talk about Vader Rigaud as well as Addison Thomas, both being selected for Team Manitoba, representing Eastman here from the province of Manitoba. No surprise, I assume those two making it given the talent they have. The year Veda had last year, same with Addison.
Yeah, yeah. We're 3 games in, so they just finished pool play. I got to watch game one. I didn't get an opportunity to really see a ton of game two and three, but just an exciting opportunity for those two to represent our team, represent the province at that level. Have the opportunity to see the competition from outside of Manitoba and see those other teams, and really kind of test themselves, and showcase themselves at another level. It, it I mean, it just speaks to the work they've put in, their dedication to their craft and the game, to make it and be rewarded to make that roster. So, we're all excited for them, and we're rooting them on from afar, of course, and we can't wait to see how they do in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, should be exciting to see how Manitoba fares. A talented team on paper, and big part of that is both, well, Veda, and we'll see if Addison ends up getting any playing time moving forward here in the quarters. I know Danica Averill is also on that team that's been getting a good workload. But speaking of Veda, she missed time to start off this season. She's been back in the lineup for the past little bit now. She's the team captain this year. I guess kind of a two-part question, but how huge has it been for her to be back? Been named best defenseman in the league last year, going into her final year this year, and I guess the decision to make her captain as well, what that came down to.
Yeah, well, I guess the second part first. I mean, as a new coaching staff coming in, I mean, I think we wanted to again, kind of knowing a lot of the players in the program. We had some ideas on the direction we were going to go, but after you've been away for a few years, I mean, you just want to make sure. Funny enough, I'm from the same local association, or I live in the same neighborhood as the Rigaud, so I coached them when they were younger. So I knew them from a younger age and had the opportunity to coach them for 3 years in their kind of before they reached that high performance level. So I did have the luxury of having some history with both girls, and with Veda specifically. I think one of the things that stood out, she got injured at the top 24 camp, with Team Manitoba. So we didn't have an opportunity to get her in the lineup right from the get-go. And so we knew we had an idea that she was, on the short list, to wear a letter with us this year. But just seeing the energy she came to the rink with, despite being injured and not being able to get into the lineup. Just the energy, the enthusiasm, the support she had for the team and her teammates. It really made it an easy choice to name her captain. Yeah, she just brought a lot of energy, good energy with her, and was just super supportive of the team and her teammates. Even when we were in Stony Creek, and she's with Team Manitoba, and a province away, she was still checking in to see how the team was doing, and kind of rallying the team up. So, she really stood out as a candidate, and so yeah, it was exciting to be able to award her the C, and she's followed suit. She's been a great leader for the program. Not only is her play indicative of, herself as a leader, but just, she has that voice in the room, and I've always kind of valued, that leader that speaks up, and kind of can rally the troops in a supportive way, and kind of says what needs to be said when it needs to be said. So she's been that person for us. Obviously, we missed her when she wasn't in the lineup, so I don't have the number of games on hand, but it was a healthy number of games we missed her. It was about 15, 16 games, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So on one hand, I mean, opportunity for our D core to really step up. We played with 5D for that period, and again, it speaks to the depth of our D core. I mean, they really stepped up, and I don't want to say we 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 missed her or didn't miss her, because you can't really replace a Veda Rago in your lineup. So yeah, I just really have to credit our group of five and how they stepped up in her absence. And then, of course, getting her back. Um, again, I go back to, I hadn't really, had a good look and see her play since her youth days. So to get her back in the lineup and really see where she's at, it's just so impressive, that the development and growth in her game. She plays with way more bite, plays with a lot of confidence. Um, she can shoot the puck, she can pass the puck, she can skate the puck. Heads on a swivel all the time. She's looking to make plays. Definitely offensive minded. So, that's something we're working to, just remind her that defense is something we all want to play, and I'm not saying she doesn't play it, but very offensive minded D, and you have to kind of, like, somebody with her skill set, you kind of have to round your philosophy around that, right? You don't want to stifle that offensive ability and that creativity. So it's just, making good reads, making good decisions, and understanding the situation, and when's the time to go, and when we gotta maybe just dial it back a little bit more. So yeah, all in all, just we're super excited to have her back in the lineup and have our 6D rolling again.
Yeah, and I mean, I love what you said there. Don't try to change her game, try to tame her a bit, but you're not going to take away the
No.
skill that she has. And yeah, I mean, set the single season points record that stood for a very long time, I believe over a decade before she was able to break it. And I mean, who knows what happens this year, but great to know the type of energy and the type of character that of course Aveda has. I've had the pleasure to talk to her last year on this show, and yeah, I mean, has a huge passion for this game, and great to see her being able to be back in the lineup. And I assume everyone's going to be ready for the upcoming November 11th game on Remembrance Day against the Winnipeg Avros. Second meeting against this team, beat them last Friday. Knowing that Ashley Van Aglen, a very good coach with another talented Winnipeg team, they're coming into your barn. What's the, I guess, expectation going up against a team like that? Still a ways away, I guess, about a week from when we're doing this interview.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Well, we'll likely be short one at forward. I mean, it was unfortunate we had Maya Grenier go down in our last meeting just before against the Avros there last week. Unfortunate lower body injury, and we expect her to be out for at least a week or two, potentially more. We'll see how she's able to recover and bounce back. So might be playing a little short, but I don't think the Avros are going to feel sorry for us. They're definitely banged up right now. So a bit of a tough goal for them just from a numbers perspective, and definitely a couple hits on their back end. We caught them a little short staffed, I guess, before the break. They came at us in the first and definitely had us on our heels. We were able to kind of get to our game in periods 2 and 3 and kind of play the way we know we're capable of. But like you said, I mean, they got some high end skill that you can't let them get the puck between the dots or in the slot because they can score. Yeah, it's just minimizing their looks because they got some players who are going to get their looks. So you gotta minimize them and just apply pressure so they can't be just grade or limit those grade A's. Yeah, I mean Ashley's been in the league a long time. She's a coach that knows what she's doing, and
Yep.
she's been in the end in the finals for a number of years. So a lot of experience there, and she'll surely make some adjustments, and we got to be ready. They're gonna come at us again on Tuesday.
Yeah, and of course, that was the finals matchup last year, and man, what a game that was. What a series that was, and what a matchup. This has the potential to be coming up on Remembrance Day next Tuesday. Head coach and Trevor Hildebrand will be there for his Eastman selects, and can't wait to see you then, Trevor. Thanks so much for doing this, and yeah, best of luck moving forward this season in the game against the Avers coming up.
My pleasure, Graham. Appreciate the coverage and appreciate you doing this.
And it's great to talk to the bench boss of the Eastman Selects and Trevor Hildebrand making his return this year to the U18 female AAA program. And by the way, thank you to Clearing the Benches for the kind words. Appreciate your support on watching this edition of the podcast and yeah, supporting our content and our coverage here of the Manitoba Female U18 AAA Hockey League, as we got some upcoming games to show you all, which the MFHL is going to resume its regular season action on Remembrance Day. We're going to be there for another iteration of last year's finals matchup between the Eastman Selects and Winnipeg Avros going to battle. Avros are going to have 3 games in total covered on the network this month of November. And as for Westman, they'll also have 3 games, 2 home games that will be covering that last game of the month on our schedule. Should be a dandy. Westman taking on the defending champion Eastman Selects, who are pretty darn good to start off this season. Their upcoming game, of course, against the Avros, and then after that they'll be back in action against the Winnipeg Ice, so they're going to get some quality opponents coming up. Yellowhead Chiefs team on that Sunday, even though it's going to be back at home and it's going to be a game where we're going to be covering. Yellowhead, I think, is hungry to improve here in the standings, as we'll show you in just a moment what they look like. But first, the scores from the only 3 games that were played during this past week in the MFHL. The Central Plains Capitals get their revenge on the Pembina Valley Hawks with a 4-3 win in a shootout. They lost to Pembina Valley by about 6-3 a few games ago. So Central Plains with a nice bounce back in that season rivalry. In that season series. Westman and Yellowhead with another close game against each other as the Wildcats end up winning 2-1 in overtime last Wednesday. And then on Thursday, it was Eastman taking care of business, 4-1 win over the Avros. Last Thursday, the day before Halloween. And actually a funny story. So Yeah, we were supposed to cover Pembina Valley and Central Plains, and I'm so disappointed that I was unable to. And the reason was, well, I missed my turnoff to on my way to Morden, and I trusted the GPS, shouldn't have done that, and it should have stopped right away when I saw mud, but I drove onto a mud road basically. The car got stuck, called CAA, they sent a truck over that also got stuck, and it was just a mess. Didn't get the car out of there until, well, the very next day, in the morning, just before noon, and yeah, it was unfortunate. No way we were able to make it down to Morden for, yeah, it looked like a really exciting game. Really disappointed that we end up missing that shootout win for the Central Plains Capitals, but hey, all that matters to me is that the car's okay in the end, and that didn't get hurt on the highway or anything like that. So you gotta take the wins where you can, right? We're gonna head to a commercial break, and then I'm gonna come back and show you some power rankings, the stats leaders from throughout the league here, and then we're going to dive into, well, the tournament. The reason why the MFHL isn't playing during this week, it's because of the U18 Women's National Tournament. Team Manitoba takes on Team Atlantic in the quarterfinals tonight, with a spot in the semifinals on the line. We'll get to that momentarily, coming up here on the MFHL Podcast, Season 3, Episode 7.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
And welcome back to the MFHL Podcast, Season 3, Episode 7, brought to you by Terraco, Movement, Fitness, and Performance, Goaltenders, Elite Prospects, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia. Thank you so much for tuning into this one, if you are. We're going to continue along with just getting into the standings, players of the week that were named yesterday in the MFHL, and as well as getting into the U18 Women's Nationals. But before we do that, going to show you the schedule one more time. We got 8 games on the schedule for this month. By the way, we have monthly and yearly subscriptions available on gshow Productions to be able to watch this content. You can also pay a single game option, which costs $7. And the great thing about this, as I've said before, and I'll continue to say it, but all the money you spend, a portion of it goes back to the MFHL, so they can use it to maybe create some sort of scholarship, for the players, to give back to them the end of the season. This money helps benefit the team, so your support means so much, and we'd love to have you tune into these upcoming games because we got some great matchups on the schedule. Lots of Yellowhead Chiefs content, Winnipeg Avros content too. Ice Avros coming up on the 19th should be, well, as fun as ever, as that rivalry always seems to be close. Although the Ice ended up taking care of business pretty well against the Avros to kick off their season. So will be interesting to see what happens coming up on the 19th. But congratulations to, it's a sweep for the Capitals. Congratulations to Ainsley Zubek, Taylor Taryn, and Bailey Schwartz on coming away with Week 6 award honors. Zubek, the team captain for the Capitals, clutched up in the shootout for them with big 4-3 win over the Pembina Valley Hawks. As for Taryn, she was a force in that matchup, scoring 2 of the Capitals' goals before they ended up, of course, going into overtime and then a shootout. And for Bailey Schwartz, she ends up making the key saves and the key moments for her team down the line in that win. And all of those players in a quiet Week 6 standing out the most, the loudest by their performances from the MFHL. Be sure to check it out in full, the past award winners from the past weeks this season on MFHL U18AAA.com. As for how the standings look before we get into the power rankings, it's the Winnipeg Ice at a bit of a break in the season, at a halt in the play. They're not perfect quite, but pretty darn close. Besides that one loss to the Pembina Valley Hawks, this is a group that is at 8-0 to start off this season, and going up against some of the best teams in the league too. They're the only team to hand the Eastman Selects a loss so far, and for Eastman, a team that has really leveled up their defensive play as this year has gone on. Central Plains finds themselves in 3rd place. It's been a while since Central Plains has been near the top of the standings, even though, well, they're 7 points off of first and 5 points off of second place. But still, this is a team that's usually been in the bottom portion of the standings. Not the case to start off this year, although the Avros been playing in a lot of tournament action lately and haven't played many league games compared to all the rest of the competition. As you can see, they have the least games played in the regular season so far, with a 4-2 record. Really nice goals against differentials. It's 3rd in the league, and yeah, expect for that team to rise in the standings as this season rolls along now, and it's a big reason why the Avros are still 3rd place in the power rankings. I think for Winnipeg, it's a team that is battling some injuries right now, as mentioned, but still a team that has a lot of weapons that can hurt you, that can beat you, and 2 really good goaltenders. Cohen Howen has been really sound in net for this group. 2 shutouts in the 2 games that she's played in for this Avros side, and yeah, like if you take a look at the Winnipeg Avros this season, showed you their goals for. They got over 25, and yeah, it's a group this year that doesn't have Rio Pierre, right? They don't have the same experience maybe as they once have, but Callie Lavely has been stepping up. She's got 7 goals for this group. There's only, when you take a look at it, 6 players on this Avros roster that's yet to score, so very strong. All around, their defense have also been finding a way to get involved in the play too, which has been huge. Jenna Turner, notably with a goal, which is the only one out of the defenseman, but still the defenseman getting in on the assist and being able to contribute that way. And Adriana Almeida, a 2-2 record to start off this season. One of her losses, I believe, has come in extra time, but she's only going to get better as the season goes along. She started off with a .938 save percentage, and yeah, her counterpart this season in Anya Cohen-Howen, 2 starts, 2 shutouts, you got to be very pleased with that. If you're Ashley Van Aglen, as I would make the argument that the Avros may have a stronger goaltending tandem this year compared to last year. But let's speak about the top 2 teams. They haven't changed because, let's be honest, these are the clear-cut 2 best teams in the league right now. And even though the Ice had their hiccup against the Pembina Valley Hawks, they outplayed and outshot them in that game, just kind of got goalied by Madison Freeze. And yeah, every single game I've seen the Ice play in this season, they've won in many different ways to start off. They can control play when they need to defend. They'll sacrifice the body to block shots. They've gotten really great goaltending from Gina Plett as well as Isla Matthews, and they're the only team to beat the Selects so far this season, which the Selects have been an absolute wagon to start off. They've only allowed 9 goals, and what are they, like, only 9 games into the season, right? Or 8 games into the season, and they've only allowed 9 goals. So the fact that the Ice were able to beat them, sure, it went to a shootout, speaks volumes about how good this team is this year. And they're first place in the league by a wide margin. Besides a team like the Eastman Selects, who are 2 points behind them, the next best team would be the Central Plains Capitals at 10 points. So yeah, given that and taking that into perspective, that's why the top 3 is the way it is. But as for the Central Plains Capitals, the reason they move up that big win against Pembina Valley that they end up having in a shootout, getting their revenge, but also able to take care of business against the Interlake Lightning the game before. I know that Interlake only has 1 win on the season, but Central Plains proven that they can take care of business against a team like they should in the Interlake Lightning, and then following that up with a gutsy performance to beat Pembina Valley, who they've already proven that they can hang in and beat the favorites in this league so far this season in terms of championship contenders heading in. But yeah, I think that Central Plains, there's a lot to like about this team. I think right now, comparing them to Pembina Valley, which Pembina Valley falls down in the power rankings 2 spots. I think that Central Plains is just, it is a bit of a miscalculation heading into the season, to be honest with you, because Central Plains, I think it was more so just off their results in the past, but in the past few seasons, right, since coming back from COVID. But this is a team that has proven that, with their maturity heading into this next year, which is being played now in 2025 from last year to this year, with the pieces they have, this is a really strong group comparing to years past for Central Plains. And in their past 2 games, they're able to bounce back from a tough 6-5 loss against Pembina Valley. And even when you look at their game against the Winnipeg Ice for Central Plains, they don't quit in that game either. They're able to narrow the score from 4-0 to 4-2. I think that consistency, by the way, it ended up being a 5-2 win for the Ice in that game, but I think the consistency still needs to get better for Central Plains as the season goes along. I think that there's been some games where they maybe could have won, but maybe let it slip away. But for now, they win 2 games in a row. They move up in the power rankings. The reason I moved the Pembina Valley Hawks down 2 spots, Pembina Valley's been an interesting team this season, right? Because on one hand, they're able to go out and beat the Winnipeg Ice 4-3 in a shootout. But again, in that game, they didn't necessarily... They did what they had to do to win the game, but they only put up 17 shots, and the Ice controlled most of that game. 44 shots on goal for themselves. And, give Pembina Valley credit, they stuck with the Ice and punched back every single time the Ice would gain the lead. And Madison Freeze played exceptional in that game. And sure, they did go out the very next game, too, and they beat the Westman Wildcats, but again, Westman controlled most of that game, and Pembina Valley goes down in that game, but then is able to come back with 2 goals in the third period. Very opportunistic team who's able to win it in the shootout again. But is that sustainable for the Hawks? Well, since those big wins, yeah, they win 6-3 over Central Plains, but then they go up against the top dog in the Eastman Selects, and Eastman has done this to a lot of teams this season, but they lose 6-1, and then they fall to the Central Plains Capitals in the next game. I feel like that plays a part in them going down, right, in the head-to-head. How good are you lately is, I guess, the phrase I'd use here to describe these power rankings, because they are truly week by week. And I think that even though it might be contradictory to put them below the Westman Wildcats, even though Westman ended up losing to them and they blew a lead. I feel like Westman is going to get better as the season goes along, and they've still been able to come out with a win out of their last few games, where even in their losses, they've been playing good. And against Pembina Valley, I feel like Westman outplayed them and just didn't have the finish necessary in that matchup. So I guess that's kind of an indication on how I feel about the teams overall compared to recently, as I just explained. So you could say that's a bit contradictory, but I do feel like it will prove over time that this Westman Wildcats team will not only rank higher than Pembina Valley in the power rankings, but could even move up. I could expect them to move into the top 4, depending on the week they have coming up once we return to action here in the league. And as for the Yellowhead Chiefs and the Interlake Lightning, the reason these teams remain in the bottom 2, well, Interlake, they only have 1 win. Sure, Yellowhead has 2 wins, but Yellowhead was able to beat Interlake in their only contest of the season so far. And you know, Interlake's lost 5 in a row. That's the most in the league at this point. Yellowhead's on a 2-game losing streak. And the thing about Yellowhead is they've been competitive in their games, like they've been close against the Wildcats, but it's just this team doesn't seem to have the same firepower as we've seen in the past. And it's a bit of a year of developing, I feel like, maybe for this Yellowhead Chiefs team. And as for the Interlake Lightning, as much as they compete, gotta have them last place, as they only have 8 goals for and 46 goals against so far this year. By far the worst goals against goals for differential at -38. The next worst would be Pembina Valley at -13. And yeah, those power rankings brought to you by Movement, Fitness, and Performance. Sure to check them out. Local Winnipeg gym. That's an independent gym too, that you can visit at 1111 Winnipeg Avenue, building number 3, or check out their website at movementfp.ca. As we take a look at the stats leaders here, be sure to check out the MFHL, their website, for the full stats. But Ivy Perkin leading the way. Emily Carrier is not far behind her, though, and she has 3 games in hand. Same with Delaney Rigaud, not too far behind. Lots of Eastman players here, a few, I guess a couple Winnipeg Ice players, in terms of Chloe Carrier and Claire Hudson defensively stepping up for the Ice so far this year. But Gina Plett leads the way with the most wins in the league at 5-0. Same save percentage as Addison Tomes, which that's always impressive when you can match that goaltender in that regard. She's suiting up for Team Manitoba, of course, and has played a game at the U18 Women's Nationals. So congrats to Addison as well. Sveta Rigaud from the Eastman Selects has already talked about on making that team, but Madison Freeze, her performances, been able to get her in the top 5 wins. And then we see a long tie there from Anya Cohenhowen to Indigo Stone, as that's the top of the stats leaders in the MFHL so far, after 6 weeks of play here in the regular season. As for the games that are going to be coming up this week, we're going to have one of them on Remembrance Day. The Winnipeg Abbers taking on the Eastman Selects. Be sure to check it out on gshowproductions.uscreen.io, as many games to come this month. But going to be a fun weekend. Looking ahead, Winnipeg, the Ice, taking on the Eastman Selects on Friday night. So it's going to be a 3-day rest for Eastman. I guess technically 2-day rest, and then they'll be back into action. And then Winnipeg taking on each other in a game that's going to be raising money for Children's Care. I forget the name exactly. I'll verify it right away, but funds are being raised to make a difference to those that are born with disabilities. That it's sad to see that not everyone gets a fair shake in life, but it's great to see that the hockey community is able to come together every year. We'll have the details on that foundation exactly, and when we come back as well, we'll be talking about the U18 Nationals. Team Manitoba, what they're going to need to have to do to try to move forward to the semifinals tonight As they're down in Newfoundland and Labrador, we're over here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and the MFHL podcast will continue to roll along after these messages.
Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia offers the widest selection of sports cards and signed memorabilia in the city. For dedicated casual and new collectors, Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia has everything a collector could ask for. Everything we sell is stored with care, and with help from our knowledgeable team, we'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. We carry Upper Deck hockey card brands like Series 1 and 2, the Cup, Ultimate, SPA, and plenty more. So what are you waiting for? Come down to Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia, Winnipeg's premier sports cards and memorabilia store.
And welcome back to the MFHL Podcast. This is episode 7, season 3. Thank you so much for sticking with us if you have for this long, almost an hour into this episode. Thank you to Trevor Hildebrand for joining the show, the Eastman Selects bench boss. We're going to be covering their first game back in action coming up on Remembrance Day. 6:15 p.m. will be the puck drop on gshow.ca.uscreen.io between the Avros and the Selects down in Niverville. And yeah, as for Winnipeg, the Avros and Ice taking on each other coming up on the 15th. It's going to be a game that's being played not only as a regular season matchup, but to raise funds for the Children's Rehabilitation Foundation. And they always donate some sort of motorized vehicle, usually like... I can't remember the name exactly off the top of my head. It's kind of like a scooter in a way, and yeah, something that they can sit on and it makes it easier for them to move around. And yeah, it's great that these two teams honor each other, or not honor each other, but are able to raise funds for this great cause. And even though me and the guy who's the organizer of the event, Mike Jarrell, may have our differences, since we were a huge competitor with them for 2 years in the MFHL, and now we have exclusivity, but didn't bother to put this game on the schedule just out of respect for him and what he's doing, because I think that it's great that he's using his platform to give back to what's a great cause put on by the hockey community. Great to see what these teams can do, what they can provide in terms of support and just caring about something like this, right? And being able to play for the people that have disabilities, and to be able to help raise funds for them, to be able to give them more accessibility to be able to move around easily, because I think it's just great in general, and can't wait to see how much money ends up being raised from that. We'll have the update here on the podcast once we find out the amount of money that gets raised for that game specifically. But as for Team Manitoba, they're going to be taking on Team Atlantic in the quarterfinals tonight at the 2025 Women's Nationals. I'm pretty sure it's coming up soon, because I don't know what NST means. I know what Mountain Time is, but I believe that they're a bit behind Manitoba time, Central Time, so this game is going to be starting up very soon down in Newfoundland. And yeah, Team Manitoba, in terms of what happens if they're able to win this game, well, they'd move on to tomorrow's semifinals at either 5 p.m. NST or 7:30 p.m. NST. If not, well, they'll move into one of the two games that are going to be in the afternoon. They're going to be consolation, and then, of course, if they do make it to the semis, they'll be guaranteed one more game on Saturday. Team Manitoba, I'm sure, hoping to go on a run and make it into the gold medal game, because this is a team that, so far, well, besides beating Saskatchewan, they've struggled against the Ontario teams. Odds are they're going to meet one of them in the semis, right, as For Team Ontario, their blue and red squads, as they got 2 teams. That's how strong that province is in the sport and how big their population is. Their red team ended up, taking a look at it, winning against Team Alberta in a close game. 4-3 was the final there. Team Quebec ends up taking down Team Saskatchewan, as for Team Quebec, they ended up finishing first in their group with a 2-1 record. The only team to go perfect, I guess they actually had a 3-0 record, just taking a look at how the records are laid out. One of their wins coming in overtime. The team that was perfect, didn't need any overtimes to win in the round robin, was Team Ontario Red, and they got a bit of a scare but moved past Team Alberta today, which finished 4th in Group B. As for Team Ontario Blue, they're up 2-0 currently over Team British Columbia. Manitoba is going to be the lower seed in this game against Team Atlantic. As we take a look at how the stats shake out, it's been a struggle for Team Manitoba, right? As we look, they have the worst goal differential out of the teams remaining now that are in play for the semifinals. They have the second worst compared to Team Saskatchewan. The teams near the top, as we look at it, is a big reason why they ended up finishing top 2 in their group, right? And goal differential is a huge indication of that. But I will say this about Team Manitoba. I think they have a great chance to upset a very strong Team Atlantic team in this matchup. I think when you look at Team Atlantic, even though I just said they're really strong, but out of the top teams in this tournament, the seeds that are 1 and 2, this is the team you want to draw, because you just take a look at it. They have a even goal differential in terms of goals for, goals against at 0, and the top 3 there, we look way ahead in terms of the other teams in that statistic. So Team Manitoba gets an opponent that I think is beatable in this game, and the thing that I think Team Manitoba is banking on, and you got to have a bit of excitement for this to know that maybe their best is coming, even though Rio Pierre has been able to put up 3 points so far during this tournament. Ivy Perkin has gotten on the board with an assist, and of course Cassie Carvalho has been able to get on the board too with an assist. Reece Schutte, as we can see it there as well. These are players that have the capability to be Team Manitoba's top players that haven't exactly gotten going to the best of their capabilities to this point in the tournament, and I expect for these 4 players, especially specifically Rio Pierre, to bring their best to lock in this matchup coming up shortly tonight, and to help guide Team Manitoba over Team Atlantic to give them the best chance of doing that at least. One thing that Team Manitoba has to do is they need to bring their best in their own end, take care of the D zone first, focus on offense second. Of course, you want to play freely in the offensive zone, but taking care of that puck is going to be priority number 1. And helping out your goaltender in Danica Averill, that's faced quite a few shots to start off this tournament in her first 2 games, and she'll probably get the nod tonight, given that she got Team Manitoba's only win. And, it feels like they've had the trust in her as the starter since the start of this tournament. One thing Team Manitoba could also benefit from is this team has really good defensemen that can activate into the play and contribute offensively. We haven't seen that yet from Veda Rigo, from Aaliyah Texiera, right? Sadie Swanson, she's been steady throughout this tournament. Expect her to continue to be in the semifinal tonight, but they're going to need more specifically on the back end from Veda, from Aaliyah, to help this team move through, as those 2 players could truly make a difference for this team tonight. Same with Adeline Nolgren, who I'm sure she's been working as hard as ever, but the Avers captain is looking to add her offensive touch into the game tonight. Team Manitoba, they might not be as highly touted as Team Ontario. Both of their teams, the blue and red squads, Quebec has been a monster throughout this tournament as they ended up going 3-0 in group play. But look, this is a Manitoba team with a lot of talent that, like I just showed you, some of their best players haven't even gotten going yet offensively. They need to start producing, and if they want any chance to move through to the semifinals to give themselves their best opportunity, they're going to not only need to see production from those players, but maybe even lean on a player like Rio Pierre even more in this tournament. Players like Ivy Perk and Therese Schuttes on this team. I haven't been able to watch the tournament really at all, but I know that those players have a lot of skill, and hoping to get going tonight and looking to be real difference makers for their team here in what's the most important games of their Team Manitoba careers to this point. And of course, Rio Pierre, she was a huge part of Team Manitoba's National Aboriginal Hockey Championship gold medal win. Looking, along with all of the players on Team Manitoba, to elevate their game tonight against a good Team Atlantic team, as you can catch all of the action in terms of, I believe you can watch the games all for free on Hockey Canada. Be sure to check out their website and go to the U18 Women's National tab as take a look at what else we have to talk about today. I believe that's it, as next edition of the MFHL podcast is going to be coming out on Saturday. As my voice cracks again, what's going on? Am I hitting that last stage of puberty? Maybe another growth spurt? Thought I already went through puberty, and I'm not even sure if it's you're able to have a second puberty, but that's besides the point. Trying to get those voice cracks settled down. We'll sure those up for the next episode on Saturday, but want to thank Trevor Hildebrand for coming on and being the guest in this episode. Always great to be able to talk to coaches in this league, and I mean, his Eastman selects are really fun to watch. Best of luck to their players, as well as all the other MFHL players that are competing for Team Manitoba tonight against Team Atlantic, hoping that we can see them move through to the semifinals. But if not, we're still going to keep talking about how that team did coming up in the next episode, as we'll have a better idea of, if they're in the finals or not, since the finals do go down on Saturday night in Newfoundland and Labrador. But as for myself, Graeme, the gshow Forsyth, I want to thank you, the viewer, for tuning into this edition of the show. Really excited for episode 8 in season 3 and all the great content in terms of games we're going to be bringing you this month. I want to thank Movement, Fitness, and Performance, Terrico, Elite Prospects, Goaltenders, and Can Central Sports Cards and Memorabilia for sponsoring another edition of this podcast. And until, 2 days from now on Saturday, everybody, enjoy the rest of your week. Be sure to check out our Uscreen platform and pre-order the games if you want to tune into them, and so you don't forget and have to purchase them at the last moment. Really excited to bring you all of the great content we got coming up this month, as well as connecting with a bunch of players from the MFHL throughout this month, starting in episode 9 once everyone's back from the Women's Nationals. But until episode 8, season 3, everybody, in a few days from now, a couple days to be exact, I've been your host, Graeme, the gshow Forsyth. Peacing out and waving so long. Take care, and we'll see you in a couple days from now.